So there's quite a few things going on in this video. It's a little on the longer side, but I get a wood chipper and I unpack that and get it set up. Talk a little bit about more of the palmetto and how to kill it for good. That's definitely a good thing to try and do. I used the farm truck for the first time as a dump truck to try and haul some of the debris and stuff from the back part of the forest and get it up into my compost pile. I talk a little bit about what brings us joy and where our fears come from, and maybe how to search and sort through some of that. We had a power outage, and it inspired me to upgrade our power panel and to work through some of the other toys and tools I have here around the house to be able to deal with that. And last but not least, I kind of discover maybe I have to replace our hot water heater. So that'll be fun. Anyway, stay tuned and we'll go over all that stuff. Well, I bought another new tool. Yeah, that's it. Now I needed a little bit bigger wood chipper. This one here, it's gas powered. Yeah, well, it's got a lizard on it. Hey, buddy, you keeping everything secure for me there? It jammed up. It's kind of got these hammers. It does have a knife chipper style thing, but it just didn't work well. It jammed, bogged. So this is the replacement one. Kubota makes one almost identical to this, but this is from Titan, and it was half the price of what was being advertised from Kubota. It all looks like it made it pretty well. I think this bit here was supposed to be up inside the crate, but it all looks foamed and it looks like it made it okay. Something hit it hard there. Looks like they dropped it maybe. Or somebody set something on top of it, who knows. But it's a WCBX 42S_IM. A whole lot of words for that. But yeah. This is a 3-point attached wood chipper. So once I get it going, I will have it hanging off the back of the tractor, and you hook up a PTO shaft to it. PTO shaft should go right straight in, kind of in the middle of that black square, and make things run. So it'll use the whole power of the tractor instead of this, which has a gas engine and just didn't work well. And it was a poor design. The chute comes out the bottom. So if anybody's in the market for a gas wood chipper, let me know. Probably sell this one cheap. But yeah, so the backhoe comes off, put the 3-point stuff on there. That'll give me an excuse also to maybe work on the remotes for the back. I've got all the parts. I just got to figure out how to plumb it. And on that, I got to figure out, when you take the backhoe off, these two lines come out, and this one here comes out, and then this one gets reattached in here. So I'm not sure what this line is. So I got to figure out which is the in, the out, and then we're gonna hang the remotes off of here, put the switches off on the other side there, so I can control them with my right hand and all that. But that's a whole bunch of work. If I can't sort it out and get the lines going, I may have Florida Coast Equipment sort out the lines and have some hoses made for me. But anyway, that's my story for today. We got a new wood chipper. That thing should cut through just about it. They claim up to 4-inch, but that's if I had probably a 60 horsepower. So the tractor's 25. They say that this chipper will run from 20 to 60 horsepower. So I'll be on the low end. I could probably chip 4-inch stuff if it was really short, but nothing big. So that's my story. The guy who dropped that off, I don't see how some of these truck drivers deal with things like this. He's in a short trailer, FedEx freight, so he's got a lift gate and a hand truck. I was the last delivery of the day, of course. But he said, yeah, some of the deliveries were an hour and a half because they sent him over to Orlando International Airport for a delivery for United. That's all they gave him. So he's trying to figure out, all right, where does this thing go? And they're taking him through a maze. I guess there's an underground city under the whole airport. So he's like, yeah, they're driving me through and I'm following this pickup. And then I come to this low overhang and I can't drive any further, and had to offload the truck and wait for a lift truck to drive over to him to pick it up. And just craziness. Anyway, I was just praying that he has a nicer day tomorrow, and hope you do too. So take care. And then we have Thor, who's been trying to watch and observe the whole thing. Hi, Thor. And our driver was kind of surprised. He's like, do you guys feed the deer? I'm like, no. They just kind of hang out in the front lawn. He's like, dude, that is so cool. So yeah, even out here in the Florida sticks, we got folks that can't believe that we've got deer that just kind of hang out. And we have a cat. Let me zoom out. There we go. We have a cat that's just wanting love. Yeah, Thor. So you ready to go back inside, Thor? Or do you want to hang out here with the deer? He's looking right over at the deer going, I don't know. But they're just kind of sitting there grazing. Let's see how close I can get in so you can see. So that's the fawn. There's two of those. One other one is coming right behind the tree right there. He probably put his nose down. Mom should be around somewhere, I'm assuming. So if I walk around there, we'll probably see Mom. The kids are getting further and further away from Mom as they get older. But, oh, there goes the other baby. This one's a little smaller than his sibling. But they both look healthy. Just cruising around. Alright, so I'm going to unpack this thing, see if anything got damaged in shipping. It all looked mostly okay, but yeah, this piece I think is supposed to be sitting inside of that frame. But we'll get that out and see what it all looks like. Not really sure what this wire was supposed to be for. It was kind of up around this way. I think it was around the corner or something. I don't know, but this clearly that got sheared off somehow. And it's really just, it's not holding on to anything. There was 3 corners like that just, I have no idea what that was for. But it looks like the only damage is this scrapes to the paint on top, and that was because the chute had shifted. Didn't look like there was anything holding that in place. And again, here's some more wire. I have no idea what this wire was supposed to do. I mean, it's just wrapped around something, but it's clearly not holding anything. So their packaging here is a bit of a mystery. Okay, we'll have to look through there's a bin of material, but there's the pin for the 3-point on that side, and there's a hole on this side. It doesn't look like it was like sheared off or damaged or anything. It's just missing. But judging by the way it's in the pallet, that may be the way it's designed, and I'll find that pin in another bit of the package, but we'll look. Alright, unloading the output chute up here in this, right where the chute was. Found the pin, yay! Okay, so we can attach that. Probably just made it a little bit easier for them to ship it. So we got that. Get the rest of that unpackaged and the PTO shaft. And it looks like the worst bit was there, where it kind of leaned on the top there when it had fallen. I don't see any other, I mean, it seems pretty solidly built, so it's not like bent or anything. The inside of the chute looks good. Outside looks fine. So yeah, I think we just have some scratch paint there, some scratch paint on top. Of course, the mishap with all the nuts and bolts on the chute, which we'll sort out. The PTO shaft looks fine. So we will get it out. The trick part, it looks like, is getting it out of this frame. I don't know how I'm going to do that. It weighs 430 pounds, and it's right up next to this frame edge. I don't know if I need to kind of get it halfway lifted and then pull it out of there, or just cut the frame out, take it out the top. Not sure. We'll work it out. Well, in order to get that nut tightened, I needed a 1.25" socket. So I had to break out my 3/4 inch Craftsman set. Good thing I had all these fun tools around. So got that situated, that tightened up. Now I just gotta figure out if this will work on my quick attach. So let's try that next. Not sure I'll be able to juggle all this, but this, I'm not gonna put this on the tractor because it's got the backhoe on it right now. But see if I can get this lined up, popped in, and hopefully it's quick attach compatible. Otherwise I'll have to pin on it, which is a pain. Sweet! It is quick attach compatible. And it looks like I just need a bushing for that. The lower ones look fine. I got a bushing from, where was that? Tractor Supply, I think, to fit into that. Probably not so big a deal for this since it's just lifted and carried and then held in place for the PTO shaft. But still might be nice to have it in there a little bit more solid. So I guess worst case I could just pull the bushing from one of the other implements I've got. Anyway, that's exciting. So it is quick attach compatible. Love it. Of course, it would have been nice if the oranges matched, but oh well. And for those wondering, yeah, it's a complete set. So we go all the way up to, what was this? 2 inch. All the way down to, what's the smallest in this set? This is the smallest, 7/8. So pretty good set. I think I got this back actually when I was tire busting, right about the time we were starting to work on trucks and do off-road mods and stuff like that. So I needed a set I could use for suspension components and things. Well, I kind of realized when I get done with palmetto in an area, I need to kind of get it all. In other words, clear out all of the rubble, the stubble, not only just the palmetto, but the muscadine and the greenbrier, and then clear the ground. So I did with the grapple, I added a little bit to my compost heap, and now kind of raked everything with the grapple. And now I need to kind of go back. I think I'll flip and put the bucket on once I get this space kind of done. And I will try and smooth all of this out and then find all the high roots and stuff that are still sticking out. Get those cleared out. And if I don't, smooth it out right after I'm done playing with it and getting it cleared up, what happens is the grass grows in and things come back, and then you try and walk through it and it's all lumpy and has holes from where I dug a palmetto out or whatever. So it seems like I gotta there's several steps that I need to go through. I just found a chunk of something that I was tripping on, but that's kind of the point, is I'm just trying to walk through here and I'm hitting holes and hitting little stumps and things. So once I get that all done, I will try and flatten it out with the bucket, get it all nice and pretty, and then in time, once that heap has composted, I'll come back in and I'll spread some of that on the ground just to get a little bit more, so maybe the good stuff will come back up and grow. But yeah, that's what I've been up to today. It's been a good lunch break. I think it's about time I head back, but yeah, good times. Well, it is kind of funny how with this big a space, like that's a pile of tree trimmings. I raked that up off the ground. Still don't know what I'm going to do with this tree. It's alive, but it fell over. Don't know that I can get it back upright. Maybe I'll pin it to the other oaks. Got a pile of brush there, but I kind of limbed up some of the trees. Trying to clean some of the ground out. so that I can walk through here. The only space I really got good so far was kind of this space here. So now it's mostly smooth. I can walk in here and still got to find some other things. But my tree surgery went well. I found this bit of palmetto and got it yanked out. It's growing right underneath this. What is this? I think it's a water oak. But you can see the fuzzies. It goes right underneath that trunk. And I think it goes there. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to pull from here and it'll be all one piece and I can just yank that tail out. That I don't think will hurt the tree. We'll see. We'll give it a shot. But right here, this is a root of the tree. I think from the pine, or maybe the oak, I don't know. Then there's another palmetto right here. It's funny, you start to get an eye for these things as you look around and you can spot them from a distance. Didn't used to be able to do that too well. But what I want to do, I kind of cleared around these pines. There was a bunch of junk in between those, kind of around those. I got to clean around that. So just get all of the debris out, and then we can start fresh with either just dirt or grass, or I don't know where we'll go. But I got to get it evened out and cleaned up and decide what little scrub I want to keep. But for the most part, this is coming along. I don't know if I'm going to have the gumption to do this kind of physical stuff all day. I may switch and start using the backhoe and pull out some more palmetto in other parts of the yard. But progress, a little bit every day. Let's see, I got some of this palmetto cleared in this area behind me. Spent maybe an hour-ish on that. It's amazing how big a pile I end up getting out of something like this. There were some pretty large palmettos in here, but it's just kind of getting started. I got to figure out what to do with this one leaning tree. I don't know if I should just take it out or try and figure out how to stake it up, but I think as time goes on, it's just going to lean more and more. This is kind of one of the larger areas I have of palmetto in the forest. So it goes on that way for a little ways, just kind of all in all directions. And then there's a little bit more down further. Yeah, it'll take me some time. I'll work through it. This is kind of looking a little bit further down the trail, but this is just kind of a mass of this stuff. So once that's cleared out, there's going to be a big open space in here. Doesn't look like it goes too far that way, so it's just really about, well, that's probably a 1/4 acre-ish of palmetto to clear. And then there on the other side, just opposite of that, there's a little bit. It's just kind of sprawling, but this palmetto kind of just takes over, chokes everything else out. Trees and things don't really grow once it gets established. It does create, as it goes, kind of a peat moss effect. So if you look at forest cycle, the palmetto probably plays an important role as it lays down, but eventually it will choke itself out and I guess die off, and then you have this thick peat that would be there that maybe things can sprout and grow in. Really fertile soil as it begins to break down. But yeah, I think I'd rather just short circuit that and get rid of it all. This is a little pocket that's been kind of bugging me. I was thinking about if it didn't rain, and the rain is gorgeous out here. Turns everything wonderful. But this is a little pocket in here I was thinking of coming down and attacking. There's just a few palmetto in here, but I really don't want this one to spread. But it would be one that would be pretty easy to knock out in an hour or so. So maybe during this lull in the rain, I might come and do that one. This is another little pocket that's been bugging me. I think it's one that they had just dumped a bunch of palmetto in this corner here. and it's just taken root again. So some of these are weird. You grab them and they're just kind of a mishmash. They come out pretty easy. But that spot I want to get, the other one that's been bugging me, is just kind of right in there. So just keeping it from getting established. There's a little bit around the base of this pine tree. I think those are ones I cut down the leaves on, and they're just popping back. So I'm learning more and more as I go how to take care of this stuff. Oh, yeah. So from the survey, if you can kind of notice this mound here at the base of this pine, I think this is where they had the old mark for the flood zone, 100-year flood zone. Kind of like from here to the back of the property was below 68 feet on the survey they did, I don't know, a while ago. And they may have guessed. But unfortunately now that I've had some real surveys done, they moved my 100-year flood line all the way up. And I'll show you, I won't bore you with the whole walk, but it's about where the forest starts. It's right about where my shooting range arch is now where the line is for the 100-year flood. So I'm standing on what would be, I don't know, what do they say, 6 inches deep of water during a 100-year flood. It's just starting into that. But then that line, they say, kind of runs along the edge of my forest. Kind of sad that they moved it all the way up here, because now for a prospective buyer, it kind of looks like the whole of our forest is swamp. But it's not. You saw, we've walked through there a few times. This is the pile of that palmetto that I pulled out. I was talking about just a little while ago. So it's kind of heaped up and piled here. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. Seems to work the best, and then knock as much of the dirt off of it as I can. And then what is dirt and loose debris gets piled up there, and the rest of it goes out to, well, the trunks will go out to the burn pile. I will say the nice thing about the soil out here is it's sandy. So right after a rain, I can pretty much roll out. You can actually work through the rain out here. Haven't gotten a machine stuck out here yet. It's just sand. I like it. It's pretty neat to work with. Way nicer than the clay and such we had back in California. So I'm trudging back out. I'm going to do a little bit more work. I'm going to pull out those palmetto we just talked about. I've got my fan, got a water bottle, my gloves, and we'll fire up the Kubota and we'll get this going again. Well, it is coming up to the mosquito hour, so I think I'm going to call it quits. But this was, as I suspected, it looked like it was a jumbled pile of rotting palmetto, which it doesn't really ever die. It just resprouts and continues on and sets in new roots. So whoever was thinking through the plan of doing this kind of did this. They just made a pile of stuff and walked away from it, which doesn't get rid of palmetto. It just moves it. So I've got another pile over there. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of mosquito time, but I need to move that pile over to compost. So I get it all out of the forest here. That pile needs to go to the sifting pile. I've got to get some of the palmetto out so it gets burned. And then the rest goes into compost. But if you remember, I said there was a little spot, another little spot that was kind of bugging me. So this is where that other palmetto was. And unfortunately, when I'm going through and doing this stuff, I've kind of got to really scrape down to the ground and get everything out of here just to make sure that I get all of the palmetto. And the forest will recover. Things will come back in and regrow. And as I get compost going, when I've got really areas like this that are cleared, I will just throw some compost back in here. But this is now cleared up. I've gotten all of the palmetto out of here. So now there's a game trail that was going through here. Oh, there's another piece of palmetto right there, just taunting me. And some up further on. So it's like everywhere. But now I've got this other trail, which I can kind of come through. At some point I need to figure out what trails I like and which ones I don't like, and just let things come back and get reclaimed. But I think I'm going to haul the one log I've got in the grapple out, and maybe the next couple days I'll start hauling this stuff out to the compost pile. So in case you're also wondering, that big square post right there, we think that's the property line. So anything past that really isn't mine or my concern. But I own pretty much everything from here up to the front of the property. So, yeah. I'm excited about what's the progress that's being made. But it also starts to wear on you a lot. You know, I think what I'm going to start trying to do is do a zone like I did this one over here, where I got the palmetto out, I scraped it, I cleaned it, and got it cleared. Now I need to come back once I get all these compost piles moved and get it raked and smoothed out. Get the roots and the stuff that are sticking up cut down, cut back, so that I don't trip over them as I walk through. And then just treating each of these as a little zone like that. And I am starting to get bit like crazy. They just annoy me more than anything. I'm not one of those that gets terribly bit out by mosquitoes, but I am also in the wettest part of the property, so they tend to hang out here. Anyway, good times. All right, well, it's lunchtime. I'm going to see if I can get some of this palmetto sorted and get it going. I'm noticing that when I pull things out of the woods and make a pile, it doesn't really dry. It kind of sits there and stays pretty wet, especially when we get rain and such. I'm going to see if I can try spread this stuff out a little bit on the ground in the fire pit. Then as it dries, kind of push it into a pile to burn. We'll see how that goes. It's kind of deceptive when I kind of show some of what we've done with the piles and things. The farm truck has just a fraction of the small bits, and I started piling up the larger palmetto trunks in a pile. It's a lot of stuff. It is just amazing how big a volume of junk I'll end up with as I go through this, because that was just a small little section that we pulled the palmetto out of. But anyway, I'm going to go spread this out, get the tractor, and move this stuff out and make a big pile, or a level pile, so this stuff can dry so all of it's exposed to the sun. See how that goes. Hopefully that'll make my burn go quicker. Just another one of my hazards of working out here. Let me turn the farm truck on. So I'm getting ready to pull out here, and there's one of our gopher tortoises. Just kind of enjoying lunch, and he's headed right about to where I want to dump this palmetto off at. Into the fire pit. Alright, so I'll drive around him. He'll probably... Oh no, he's headed right in there, isn't he? I love nature, but sometimes, yeah. Maybe what I'll do is I'll drive around this side before he gets too far over. There's no grass in there, so I'm guessing, yeah, there he goes. He's wandering off. Nothing for you to eat in there, buddy? Alright, I'll get this. Oh, where are you going? Oh, you found one blade of grass. One blade of... Is that the special grass there in my fire pit? Yep, gotta get that one too. Okay. Well, maybe I'll just dump it to the right of him, right of my existing pile here, and move on. Yeah, I'll be over here. Alright, so he's over there. I'll go dump over here. Yeah, he's still munching. Alright, so let me get this flipped. So there's my dump lever. that dumped it nice and spread out. Probably not. Spin around this way. And there he goes. He's like, oh, farm truck's over there. I'm gonna head out. I think that's his home right at the base of that other pine tree there. So he's headed for cover. But, no, it kind of dumped it in a pile. But when I grab that other stuff, I will come back and spread that out a little bit so it dries. Bye, buddy. I don't know if I shot the closing video of this. I finally got the wood chipper out. It's still sitting. Thing's heavy. With the quick attach, it's probably 450 pounds now with all the bits and parts on it. But I got the chutes attached, got it out of the cage, and so forth. So that's ready to go. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll go over and we will grab some of this palmetto trunks, scoop those up, haul them all the way over to the fire pit, burn pile, and go from there. If I can do this on camera and hold it. Good enough pile. Let's see. Wait. Sometimes I miss one, so I want to go back and make sure I re-grab it. See if that got it. Yep, captured it. Alright, let's go over to the fire pit. And my camera's getting hot. And then our other resident, Tortoise, man, it's like Tortoise Day. He's like cruising. He's like, hot feet, hot feet, hot feet. It's like 95 degrees out-ish. And he's cruising across that hot asphalt. Wow. Guess the grass was greener on the other side. Oh well, back he heads to home. Guess what time it is? It's lawn sweeping day. Yeah, let's get some pine needles and we can put them up in the planters. So I'm going to try something different today. I got a bunch of stuff way back at the back of the property in the forest that it's just a bunch of stuff that I'll probably put in the compost pile. But instead of loading the grapple and driving the tractor back and forth, which is kind of slow and bumpy, the farm truck has a way better suspension and it's got a dump bed. So I'm going to see if I can load it with this stuff and then drive it over and dump it in the compost pile and do that, see if that works out better. We'll see. I'm only a little concerned. There's from the end of the bed here to about here, so that much space where this canopy doesn't overhang. So I don't know if I'll be able to get the grapple in and push things in. We'll see. Give it a shot. So we'll take a drive. I think I should be able to get this to fit everywhere. This is the road I cut trying to stay along the fence line. Kind of skirts around behind or to the south of the shooting range. Up here is where I moved that concrete pile I discovered. Shooting range is right there. And the pile of compost junk, debris, is right up here in the road. So let me see. How do I want to do this? So that's the pile I want to move. Let's see, maybe if I just put the farm truck nosed up in here. And let's see. Yeah. So that in and of itself would probably be, I don't know, 4 or 5 trips. I'll see how much of that I can get into the bed of the farm truck. So let me walk over and get the tractor and I'll be right back. accidentally banged the mirror once, and maybe I should set the parking brake next time. Anyway, let me go unload this, and we'll see how I can do on the next load. All right, well, I got that sorted. So that's my pile of palmetto trunks to go to the burn pile, and that's just compost. So this is all that stuff that we just brought over a couple of loads from or in the farm truck. So it takes a little bit of effort to go through and do this, but putting that in the burn pile doesn't make sense. And putting that in the compost pile doesn't make sense because it'll just grow. Palmetto is just kind of that way. It'll, if I just left that as a heap right there, it would just start a new palmetto growth plant, and off it'd go. It'd take roots down and just not be gone. The only way I've found so far to actually get rid of palmetto is to remove it from the property. And so far the best way I've found to do that is burn it. Yeah, it has its own sense of kind of accomplishment and revenge at the same time. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take that bit of compost. I will add it to my compost pile back here, but in the process I'm going to drag that compost pile out, just kind of push it around a little bit, give it a good stir, and then I'll pile it back up where it is. Oh yeah, that stuff's really starting to come together, getting a nice good dark brown look to it. I think what I want to do, I'm seeing some palmetto chunks and other things in there. This wasn't the cleanest pile when I started. So I think I'm going to walk through this, pull out some of the longer vines, put them in my burn pile and haul them over there just to kind of help this one along. I don't think the vines are going to break down as quick as I'd like. It's a good example of the resurrection of palmetto. That yellowish bit that was buried probably in the middle of that pile, but it was growing and it was trying to find its way back up to the surface and just propagate its species again. So yeah, you can't really compost or bury any of this stuff. Smaller bits and chunks maybe, but if it's got any substance or size to it, it just becomes another palmetto. Well, it's getting late and I'm tired. Got to get up early tomorrow and go to feature animation. So that'll be fun, but this pile is looking really good. I got it fully turned, got some oxygen down in the bottom. So that should get the anaerobics going, get this thing processing a little bit more. There's always something more I could do as I look at things, but for right now, I think this is good for tonight. I'm super happy with this one. I still got some more chunks of wood I could probably pluck out, but maybe it'll compost, who knows. But this will be for the garden. Really the raised beds are going to be right about where this dirt patch here is. The chicken coop will be in that area over there. I called and bugged the folks about the permit. So I got all of the measurements done. Now it's up to the engineer. He needs to do his part, and hopefully we'll get that off to the county so that flood control can say, yep, you're not going to get flooded out when you build that shop. But that's a good way to end the day. That, and I have Thor coming out to try and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Hey Thor, what you up to? You just coming out to say hi? I know, I set my water down. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you guys. I am still trying to promote the channel. So Thor likes to watch every episode, but hoping you guys do too. If you want me to be doing something different, make sure you make a comment, and Thor will make sure I read it, and we can get the latest and greatest stuff out to you. So hit subscribe, like, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. Thor will appreciate it. Right, Thor? Yeah, I thought so. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day. Come on, Thor, let's go in the house. Still gotta take the trash out. They started getting this rounded up before it started raining. And of course, as soon as they got it all set up, it starts. I'm like, you can wait until it quits. It's not gonna do this all night. She's like, we'll do it anyway. All right. But it is kind of fun out here. Blue skies and part of the, but rain here. I know back in California, folks would love to have this happen every few days, but here, it's every day, about this time. Getting all my burn pile wet. It's been sitting out there. I was hoping it would dry off, but it does a little bit here and there. You know, there's a lot of things in life that stem from our previous experiences. I was just sitting here thinking, why do I enjoy the rain so much? And I think a lot of it relates back to my time when I was in Iowa and going to visit my grandparents on their farm. They called it the Brockway Place. They're just outside of Lincoln, Iowa. Tama County, I think, is where they are. But we'd go there in the summer, and it was kind of like here. It would rain often. But I would just love to sit. Grandma had a big picture window in the living room, and I'd just sit, watch the rain and listen to the thunder and lightning. And that was a really fun time in my youth. So oftentimes if you enjoy something unusual or you're abnormally drawn to something, there's a reason for it, both on the positive and the negative side. Some people have fears because of something that happened to them, and other people overcome it. Like I got a bunch of stitches in the back of my head when I was younger. I was probably 8 years old or so. I fell backwards off of a porch. We were playing in a neighbor's yard, and I don't know, it didn't really faze me that much. I don't know if I don't have a fear of heights from that though, and I would think that if there was anything that would have done it, that it would have been something like that experience. So even good or bad experiences, people handle them differently. But it is important, I think, to dig into things that you enjoy to find out, but probably more importantly, things that you're afraid of, fears that you have. Oh, well, that was distracting. My phone ran out of disk space, so I had to go clean some things up. No, but it's important to go through and look at those things that you have unusual fear of, or things that you're overly passionate about that happen around you, and just dig into those, dig deep into those. Ask God to kind of search your heart, help you come to those conclusions on what it is. I had shared that I kind of always dread when my manager calls me into his office, and that stemmed from me being let go at a couple of companies. It always started with, "Hey Bill, can I talk to you for a minute in private?" It's like, the anxiety kind of goes up. But now that I realize that, now I don't have that same kind of problem when I end up talking with management and managers. I know that, probably all good, no worries. And if they were going to let me go, then God's got something else. I've seen God work miracles in my life with employment and put me in places that are just fabulous after I ended up being let go from companies where I thought, man, this would be devastating if I lost this job. Anyway, that's my story. That's why I enjoy the rain. I think it's because of just hanging out at Grandma's house in the summer. Take care, and God bless. So last night we had a power outage. I guess somewhere around 5 a.m. Power went down. Something, I guess, tree limb or something fell on one of the power lines. So we were without power until about 7:50 this morning. So I've had parts to upgrade this outlet here. So this is a 30 amp twist lock backfeed outlet box. I've got the parts to make it a 50 amp so that I could a little better power some of the stuff. 30 amp made me nervous just because my well is a 30 amp 220 circuit. So just turning the well on would have pulled a lot of the power just for the house. So I need to run the fridge and, you know, some of the other basic necessities of the house. So today I'm just going to see if I can tear some of this apart, figure out if I do have all the right parts, and come up with a plan to update this. Well, I noticed this trail of water coming from the garage. I'm like, huh, that's not right. It's coming from the wall, so I kind of trace it back, and yeah, from the hot water heater it looks like. Don't see any water running down the wall, so my guess is gotta fix the hot water heater. Dang it. Well, stay tuned for another project. Alright, part of the way there, I got the old box off the wall. You can see its spot where it was missing. I got the new one mounted and the conduit run. By the way, I've done all of this. I know some people would say, you're crazy with the mains live. But as long as you're careful, use one hand, you know, tie one hand behind your back as you're running screws into the panels and such. I just had to undo the ground and the neutral, and then I had pulled the breaker out of that blank spot there between them with it off, you know, so I had nothing energized. So just, you know, be careful and you can do it. I think at this point I could probably keep the mains on and be really, really careful, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to de-energize the mains. But realize that even with them de-energized, there's still power up here at the top of the panel. Those two are always hot. They come from the street. The only way to de-energize those would be to pull the meter out of the panel here, and they tag that with a serialized tag. So no big deal. Just don't touch anything way up there, and we're good. But once I get this done, then I should be able to have a diesel input or a gas generator input for things. This was not supposed to happen. It is now raining and my power panel's open, so I got to figure out how to close it. For now, that's going to have to do. I don't think it's going to rain too hard, but I got to cut that wire. I brought my cutters out to do it, but yeah, I'm going to wait until it stops raining. It shouldn't be very long. It's not one thing here around the homestead, it's another. So I'm going to go find some cover, keep from getting too wet, and come back. Yeah, back under cover in the garage. It's sunny out for the most part, but it's just a little bit of rain coming from uncloud, so I'll wait it out. Forgot to film this earlier, but yeah. With the power out last night, I got to test my inverter and my battery. So the battery plugs in the back of this inverter box, and then there's an outlet on the back for power. So I was able to sit in here and make coffee this morning because I have to grind the coffee beans and then brew the coffee. So this thing worked awesome for that. Got that done, but it won't run the whole house, not even close. But that's what started me on upgrading that outlet today.